I'm Willem. Have you ever planned to do something special for someone, but it didn't go exactly the way you wanted? Say, for instance, you wanted to make your mom a really nice breakfast for Mother's Day, but you burnt the toast or you overcooked the eggs? Did she still appreciate the fact that you did something nice for her? People often say it's the thought that counts, and today, we're gonna see how God looks at us and who we are. Let's watch this God story, and you'll see what I mean.
For his bad choice. For his bad. I was like, should I say choices, decisions, or actions? I don't even know. Okay. Hey everyone, it's Alyssa. I'm so excited to be sharing a story with you today. Now, have you ever gotten into a fight with your siblings and suddenly your mom's in the room and she's going, you need to apologize. And you're saying, it's not my fault, but they started it, but, and she's going, no, say sorry. I'm gonna bet your sorry probably sounded like this. Sorry. Now, we all know you didn't mean it, and even though you said the right words, it didn't come from your heart. And the truth is that God really knows what's in our hearts. And with God, the thoughts behind our actions really matter because He knows what they are, even if other people don't. And that leads me to today's big idea. God cares about what's on the inside. Now, today's story is from Genesis 4. It's about Adam and Eve's kids. So let me set the scene. God created everything. He loved it all. He called it very good. He had a great relationship with people. He hung out with them in the garden where they lived. Everything was perfect. Now, the first people were given one rule, and they broke it. With that, sin entered the world, and sadly, that sin got between them and God. So out of the garden they went because life couldn't continue in that perfection anymore. Now don't worry, God had a rescue plan set in place even at that time. But the first people, Adam and Eve, had to leave the garden, and they went to a not so perfect place, started a family, and there they had to work really, really hard to survive. Adam and Eve had a son named Cain, and later another son named Abel. Now, Cain and Abel had different roles in the family. Cain was a farmer and he grew crops. Abel was a shepherd and he raised sheep. So one day, Cain and Abel decided to bring an offering to God. Now, an offering is something that you own, something that you have, something that you worked really hard for, that you bring to God as a gift to show your love and your respect for Him. Now, Abel brought some sheep from his flock, and these were the very best sheep. They were strong, they were healthy, they were the fattiest sheep. I mean, this was the very best offering that Abel could bring. God was pleased with Abel's offering. He was really happy because he knew it was special. Now, on the other hand, Cain brought some crops from his field, but his heart wasn't filled with love when he brought this offering. And God knew that, so He wasn't pleased with Cain's offering. When Cain learned that God wasn't pleased with his offering, he became angry and sad. Now let's read what God said to Cain next. Why are you angry? Why are you looking so sad? Do what is right, and then you will be accepted. If you don't do what is right, sin is waiting at your door to grab you. It desires to control you, but you must rule over it. God was being loving. He was trying to correct and guide Cain. But instead of being filled with love and choosing to obey God, Cain's heart was being ruled by sin, and he didn't listen. God tried to get Cain to see this. God even clearly said what Cain should do. But instead, Cain made a horrible, horrible decision. Cain said to Abel, hey, let's go out to the field. But then Cain attacked and killed Abel. Instead of listening to what God told him, Cain chose his own way. And unfortunately, his actions came out of his heart, which was filled with anger and bitterness. And when anger and bitterness and sin fill our hearts, it can lead to violence and bad actions. A little while later, God said to Cain, Cain, where's your brother Abel? Cain said, I don't know, am I supposed to take care of my brother? But who was he kidding? God knew exactly what had happened. But God responded, what have you done? Listen, your brother's blood is crying out to me from the ground. And then God put a curse on Cain. Like any good parent, God punishes Cain for his bad actions. But Cain, like any of us kids, complained about the punishment. Cain was worried that anyone else who found him would kill him for what he had done to his brother. So God, in His mercy, told Cain that He would protect him. God was still a loving and merciful Father. Adam and Eve went on to have another son named Seth, and both Cain and Seth each went on to have their own family. Cain's family would choose their own way instead of God's way, while Seth's family would go on to choose God's way and be a people that worshiped God. You see, right from the moment when God offered Cain guidance and correction, Cain had a choice to make. He could choose to turn to God and listen to him, or he could choose his own way, which was filled with sin and bitterness. Because God knows us inside and out, he cared for what was going on inside Cain's heart, just like he cares about what's going on in our hearts too. Remember at the beginning when we talked about how we can say sorry and not really mean it? Well, God cares about what's going on inside our hearts. If you're upset with someone, go and talk to them, clear the air, solve the problem together. Get those feelings of anger and bitterness out of your heart and trade those feelings for love and forgiveness. If you're doing something so that people will pay attention to you or think you're cool, check yourself. Check what's going on inside of your heart. Are you doing this for yourself or for God? A proverb written by a really wise guy in the Bible named Solomon says this: "Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do comes from it." Your actions, your words, your behaviors, those come from your heart. And when we put Jesus first in our hearts, we can be filled with the fruit of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Aren't those great things? So every day, take some time, check your heart, and get rid of the gunk, because God cares about what's on the inside. This has been so fun, guys, and I will catch you guys next time.
Did you notice that God had mercy on Cain because he cared about what was going on in Cain's heart? I want to share a story with you that shows what her friend Ava went through when she went to high school. She thought that people might see her and judge her, and what she came to realize over time. Check this out.
When I look in the mirror, I see a girl with brown hair, brown eyes, someone who loves school, is confident some days, kind of insecure the next, and I'm kind of in that in-between phase between being a kid and an adult. What I've learned from looking in the mirror is that what's on the inside doesn't always match what's on the outside. As teenagers, a lot of us experience a lot of pressure to perform well in school, to get good grades. Some of us have a part-time job, thinking about college and university and what comes after high school. And on top of that, we're also figuring things out internally, so it's a lot to have on us. I know this because I went through it, and I'm still dealing with some of it. When I first started high school, I was really concerned about what people would think of me, if they would judge me for the clothes that I wore, how I acted. I was really concerned about that. I was actually so stressed about this that I remember a week before I went to high school, I was trying on different outfits, planning things, changing it up last minute. I was so stressed. So I read that people's first impression of you is their judgment, and then the second impression is their option to correct that judgment and get to know the real you. So I wanted to make a good first impression because I thought that that would be the label on me for the rest of my high school career. On my first day of high school, I got changed, I got to school with my new outfit that I had planned so early on, and the whole day I was just fiddling with my clothes, fiddling with my hair, because I was so insecure that something had changed. Maybe I had chosen the wrong outfit. Sometimes you can feel like you're under a spotlight, like everyone's looking at you and paying attention to you and noticing all your flaws, but in reality, everyone else is going through the same thing. I started off by wearing really nice jeans and tops, but then I went through this phase where I just wore things that weren't so form-fitting, so gray sweatshirts and black pants. I really just didn't want anyone to think that I cared too much, but I also didn't want them to think that I was sloppy. So I just found that middle ground that wasn't really me. It took me about a year, maybe even a year and a half to kind of transition out of that middle ground phase where I realized that it shouldn't matter what I wear. Because if you're putting on this fake image of yourself, you're gonna make fake relationships because you were not yourself. So if you're acting yourself, you're gonna make friends with people who accept you for who you are, and that makes you so much happier. Some people didn't transition out of that phase. Some people don't find themselves, and they are not happy on the inside, and you can see it. Sometimes they even resort to drugs or self-harm to fit in, or they don't feel like they fit in, so they put on that fake persona so they can. Where I am at now is I know that God sees me for who I am on the inside. So no matter if I'm wearing sweatpants and a sweatshirt or nice jeans or a dress, he sees me for the same person. And I know that he sent me the right friends and my family to accept me for who I am. So I'm a lot comfortable with myself. And I know that a lot of the time I feel more insecure some days, which is totally normal because your outer image does still affect you, and there's no escaping that. But it's just a matter of becoming more comfortable every day with yourself. So some days I'll wear something and I'll be like, I don't feel so great in this, so I might change. And then the next week I'll feel perfectly fine in that outfit. And that's okay. It's something that you have to work through, but it's a reality. I realize that God sees us for who we are on the inside, and we don't have to be good at math or be good at soccer or dress a certain way for him to love us. I recently had a school project where we were challenged to make an ad, and since this is a topic close to my heart, I decided to make one about being comfortable with who you are. So here it is, and I hope you enjoy it.
I think many of us can identify with what Ava went through. We're super aware of what other people might think, and we act based on that. But there's also a lot we can learn from Ava's experience as well. God looks at our hearts and what's on the inside. And once we're good with that, we can be ourselves and live for Him, and then it doesn't really matter what other people think. Let's break into our small groups and see what this might look like in our stories.